Okay, we're good. Sorry, pressing. Oh God, the pressure's on now. Woo. Okay. So just a few housekeeping rules. I guess we will start with grab a pen and paper. If you have any questions, you can write them down. You can put them in the chat, but we're going to keep them till the very end. And please make sure you're on mute, because there's nothing more embarrassing than yelling at your kids or husband or something and you're in the middle of a call. So again, thank you guys so much for joining. A little bit about myself. I was very fortunate to have grown up on a farm. I'm a country girl at heart, and food has always played a role in my life. And that's ultimately the conversation we're having tonight, is about food. And then I entered the hospitality industry, again, around food, and did not have access to land. And I had children. And once you have children, it's amazing how food does become more important to you, and you really start to understand the impacts that food have on your children's behaviors and everything like that. So when I was introduced to this business, that is when I was introduced to all of the products and the Tower Garden. And the Tower Garden is what just made my mind explode, and I knew that I had to get these into as many schools as possible to start teaching children the importance of food. So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys so that I can start sharing my presentation. So these are my lovely boys, Benjamin and Matthew. Matthew is 10 and Benjamin is 16. Benjamin was diagnosed with ADD when he was about 9 years old. And I have to say that once we did figure out his diet and food, we totally noticed behavioral changes. And I ultimately believe that food can be our medicine. And if we're not here educating individuals how to get a more whole food nutrition into our children's bodies, then there's a problem. This is just something, I just love sharing this visual. This is my 5 years in a nutshell with the Juice Plus company. Like I mentioned earlier, I can't remember if I did or not, but I was able to get towers into over 80 schools. Top left, our company is amazing. We donate towers to every single Boys and Girls Club across North America. So we were able to get them at all of the Boys and Girls Clubs here in Ottawa. The center, you can see some children in the classroom growing their own food. Statistically, it has shown that if children grow their own food, they want to eat it. Therefore, we're encouraging healthier eating habits. And then the rest is just the amazing community and friendships that I've made while in this business. So enough about me. Let's get into the presentation. So sadly and unfortunately, we are unhealthy. And heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and obesity is on the rise. And the obesity, 1 in 5 children, like, I am not okay with that. And the bottom slogan there where it says, our children are more harmed by poor diet than by exposure to drugs, alcohol, and tobacco combined. Like, that just blows my mind and terrifies me. Really? There we go. We also have environmental toxins that are increasing. This is something that, you know, it's very difficult to control. We have pollution, water contaminants, pesticides, prescription drugs. It can be so overwhelming being a human today. And if you can just do one simple thing, that's usually what when I talk to people, I'm like, maybe you just want to change out your shampoo that you use, or maybe you want to change out the soap that you put on your skin. Just one simple thing, you know, can really impact your health. Our food quality is decreasing. This is not any news that I'm, like, bulletin news that I'm sharing with you. More than 50% of what Canadians and Americans eat is processed. And like I said, we're busy. Parents are busy. We're not in the time where one parent stays home and can focus on what we're putting into our family's bodies. We've got GMO issues, less nutritious, pesticides, trans fat. Artificial colors are the worst, especially when you have behavioral issues with children. And broccoli could lose 50 to 80% of key nutrients before you purchase it. And obviously, you know, I'll get into that a little bit later. And oxidative stress and antioxidants. So bad oxidative stress causes aging and disease. And this is something that we don't even see it's happening in our body. Do you feel stress? Like, you can physically feel stress, but there's days where I feel like I'm good. I'm totally fine. And then I have an eye twitch. I'm just like, okay, maybe I'm not fine. But I love this visual with the apple on the left-hand side. When you cut an apple and it starts browning, this is the example of oxidative stress and what's happening inside your body. But the good news is that if we can flush our body with antioxidants that we can find in fruits and vegetables, we can start protecting our cells from oxidative stress, which can cause disease. So what do we need? I want everyone to go to the message box, and I want you to tell me how many servings of fruits and vegetables you had today. We need 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, and my fist is, let's say, 1 serving. And athletes need to eat even more. So if you have, if you are an athlete or a competitive athlete, you need to be eating more than 7 to 13. And, you know, people will ask me, well, why does it matter? Well, like I mentioned about that broccoli, produce is picked before its nutrition has fully developed. It doesn't allow it to be vine ripened. They need to pick it early so they can chuck it on a truck, have it shipped thousands of miles, and just so we can survive the trip and then put into our grocery store. And then 90% of, like I said, we just don't eat enough servings. And I will guarantee you we are eating the same fruits and vegetables every single day. We are not eating the variety that we need. I love this visual, multivitamin versus whole foods. I'm not here to point fingers with anybody. We've all done it. I have gone out and bought a multivitamin because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Multivitamins are filled with tons of synthetic fillers. Your body basically doesn't even recognize what's in a multivitamin, and it has few isolated nutrients in it. Where an apple or real food, but the apple has approximately 10,000 phytonutrients that work in synergy. And research has shown that isolated vitamins may do more harm than good. So if we look at this multivitamin and we look at the food, the supplement label on there, okay, great. Let's envision slapping a label on this apple. If we were able to put a food label on this apple, that is what is in an apple, all of those amazing phytonutrients. So it's just about switching the gears in the mind and really understanding, you know, and again, I'm one that took Centrum, and who here had Fred Flintstones, like Flintstones vitamins when we were kids? Do you know that poison control needs to be called if your child like takes a bottle of that? Like that's yeah. Yeah, oh my God. Our parents did the best they could. Let's put it that way. So what do? I use Juice Plus. This is what my family has used for 5 years now. It's literally a salad bar in a capsule. It's like the juicing has been done for you. It is literally whole foods. It has been, it's produce that's been pulverized, not juiced, and dried into powders at low temperatures to preserve nutrition. One thing I want you guys to know is that we actually work with family brand farms. They specifically work with, they're hired by Juice Plus. So that meant a lot to me, seeing as I came from a farm. My father had a family ran farm. So that meant something to me. And that it's harvested at the peak of ripeness. It's total key, guys. Like that is when your food is the most nutrient dense. So it's got plant powders are put into capsules or amazing chewables for your children. And then we also have a really amazing full spectrum omega blend, which is amazing for vegans. There's no more fishy, burpy taste. It tastes like oranges. Again, another amazing visual. So this is the synergy that I'm talking about, guys, that all of these plants do when they work together. Now, who today can honestly tell me that they chomped on some black currant, had some elderberry, oh, I just chewed a lemon peel today, or yeah, like it's just, or prunes. So I just love the synergy of all of this. And I can honestly tell you that for me, everyone's different. My energy definitely increased because, guys, we're nutrient deficient. And then the omegas. So you can see all the beautiful seed oils that we use. It is 100% plant-based, pure and sustainable, sorry. And guys, like omegas are amazing for heart, brain, joints, skin, and eyes. I literally will squeeze this capsule open and I will put it on my skin. If I have a bug bite, it's wonderful. So why Juice Plus and nothing else? I just love these top 3 reasons. It's food. It's not a multivitamin. It's just food. It actually has a food label on it. It's made with non-GMO ingredients, vegan, kosher, dairy and gluten-free. And then it's got that NSF certification, which is third-party validation. So what is on the label is actually in the bottle. And it's really cool that we actually have specific bottles for NSF labels for sports certified capsules for professional athletes, because we actually have a couple Olympic teams that take Juice Plus or sponsored by Juice Plus. And it's the most researched product on the planet. At the time, I did not care about this. I mean, if I look back at my habits when I was out shopping for a multivitamin at Costco, do you ever think I even asked once about the research? And I'll put money on the table tonight that most of you did not. And once I learned about the research and I understood that what fruits and vegetables can do to the body, I think that's when I just kind of went, oh my God, I made the best decision of my life. Because it's shown, like, these are all of the reputable universities that all of these research papers have come from. And I do want to point out that Toronto, Canada is even on there. And these are some of the findings. I'm not going to run through it, but I do love that it supports the immune system. And the quote at the bottom from Dr. Richard Dubois, there's nothing else available any place in the world with or without a prescription that has been clinically proven to do what Juice Plus has been proven to do. Also, want to just quickly touch on our children's health study. With every adult order of Juice Plus, your child, your neighbor's child, the child that just wanders in and out of your home, the university student, whoever, you can sponsor them for up to 4 years to receive Juice Plus for free. Amazing value. And all of our research, this is the results from over 1.5 million families. They have shown that 60% were missing fewer days of school, 71% were drinking more water, less visits to the doctor. I can attest to this. I am not going to say my children never get sick. They absolutely do, but the recovery is so much faster. And one thing I will tell you is that prescription drugs, I don't think we've had anything in probably 4 years when it comes to needing a prescription. So, sorry guys. I think that. Oh, okay, this is what I'm waiting for. So in no way, shape, or form am I here to say that I'm going to cure you or your child or a family member. It's ultimately just a plant. It's plant-based nutrition where we need to flush our bodies with more plants. And it is supported by over 20 years of research. And every person's experience is different. Obviously, my baby here, I can't forget about the Tower Garden. Amazing, amazing. Everybody needs a Tower Garden. This is something that we need. It should be like having a dishwasher, a barbecue. It grows, it's a vertical aeroponic system that utilizes air and water to grow fresh produce. It uses 98% less water, 90% less space, and 30% more yield. So it's affordable. If you are somebody that treats yourself, and I'm not saying everybody runs off to Starbucks and Tim Hortons and all of this, but you know, we indulge maybe and buy that $4 drink that may not service us the best that it should. Juice Plus costs about $3.33 a day to take, and then it's free for your kids. Again, amazing value. I didn't touch on our Juice Plus protein, but we do have an amazing vegan dairy-free protein, which has a low glycemic index, which means it slowly goes into your bloodstream. It's not a massive sugar crush taking it. And then obviously our omega, which works out to $1.29. Sorry, it's like when people come into the, so that's it. I just wanted to burn through our amazing products and share that with you and get these ladies on to share their story. So Shelley is my new business partner, and we met online, and she has a really great, she's been on her own health journey. She's had some experiences that have helped her on this new path that she's taking. And yeah, Shelley, go ahead, share. Let's do this.
Hello, everyone. So yeah, I guess I'll just start out a little bit with my story. So like Becky said, I had a bit of a health journey, which has got me to where I am right now. So in the summer, I just felt like something was wrong. Something was wrong in my body. Something didn't feel right. And it prompted me to start looking into my nutrition. I'm already vegetarian. A lot of people think if you're vegetarian, you're automatically healthy. This isn't true. So I started gathering all this information, and it turns out it completely ignited a fire in me. And I started my schooling in November to become a holistic nutritionist. So in the midst of my studies, it turns out I found out I was right. I wasn't healthy. I did have some significant precancerous cells that were on the verge to becoming cancer that I had to have removed. And, you know, it just really reinforced the changes that I need to make in my life. So on my health mission, I'm like, I need to get some more food in me that's full of nutrients. Again, like Becky said, our food is, a lot of it is not very nutritious. And it's just because it's being taken off of the plants before it's ripe. It's being sprayed with different things to keep the food from ripening until it gets to where it needs to go. Then it sits in the grocery store, it comes to our house, it sits in our fridge. And what happens is we end up with a fraction of the nutrients that should actually be in our food. So I came across the Tower Gardens and I'm like, I need this in my world. So that was my number one. I got right on the Tower Gardens. And this is where Becky and I connected. And so then I found out that this was connected to Juice Plus. Right when COVID hit, I know probably a lot of people did the same thing. First thing I did, I ran to the health food store. I'm like, I need to buy something to help boost my family's immune system. Because I was taking my schooling, I'm like, I'm going to look at these different products. And I picked up, you know, bottle after bottle. And I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I ended up leaving with nothing for my kids because I wasn't happy with anything that I was seeing. And so when I found out about the Juice Plus and I looked into it, and let me tell you, Becky can attest to how many questions I bombarded her with. It was an instant fit for me. And the reason for that is that it is made from whole foods. It's not made from isolated or synthetic vitamins. And you get that exposure to all the phytonutrients that you wouldn't get in your typical multivitamin. It's tested for pesticides, so you know that you're not getting a bunch of junk in there, and the food is vine ripened. That's a big difference, is when it's actually allowed to ripen right on the tree or whatever that plant is and harvested immediately and processed immediately, then we're getting the nutrients that we're supposed to be getting. So while I was on this health journey, you know, I made other changes in my life. So really made a cutback on processed food. So we reduce a lot of processed food in our home. We cut back on meat because, like I said, I'm vegetarian, but my boys sure weren't, and cut back on our dairy. So my older boy is on the spectrum, the autism spectrum. So he has a very limited palate. Basically, he's what we call high functioning, but he has sensory issues, and he likes his food for about 2 weeks at a time. So he will eat, you know, peppers for 2 weeks, and then I'm not touching a pepper again. He'll eat cucumber for 2 weeks, and then I'm not touching cucumbers again. Right now, his current kick is I don't like fruit. So anything that's presented to him that is a fruit is an instant no. He's not interested in it. So I got Alex on the Juice Plus, my whole family, both my boys. We've made these changes, and we've been on the Juice Plus for about 3 weeks now. And I'd just like to tell you some of the changes that we've seen. So me personally, I have way more energy. Like I can't believe the difference. Back in the fall, I was on iron injections. I was on vitamin B injections, and I still was dragging. Like I needed them because my body was depleted in those vitamins and minerals. But the point is, it didn't give me the boost of energy that the Juice Plus has done. And my son, this is where it's really interesting to see what's happened with him. So Alex is way more rational. It's unreal, the change in him. We have less blowups. We're seeing less arguments in the house. And the less arguments, I think, is on both of us, because trying to reason with a tired mom is about as fruitful as trying to reason with an overwhelmed child, right? So it's a recipe for disaster. So the fact that we're both a little bit more settled, we're just getting along so much better. And the neat thing is he's starting to become more accepting of meals that are high in vegetables. So when I started this process, he was a no-go. You don't cook for me, you don't give me proper meals anymore, which to Alex, a proper meal is something heavily processed. He only wants carbohydrates, he wants crackers, he wants as many cookies as he can get, he wants pasta. That's what he craves. So now when I'm presenting him with, okay, tonight we're having a salad, we're having some fresh vegetables, we're maybe having some roasted squash, he's way more accepting, and that is really nice to see. So obviously I believe all the changes that we're making are all helping out Alex in this journey, but the fact remains that there are a lot of vegetables and no fruit that I could get into this kid otherwise. So that's where the fruit for the Juice Plus, really comes in. And then even comments from other people, like my mother is saying that Alex looks like he's coming alive right now, which is really nice to hear. And we walked over to my parents' house not too long ago, which is a story in its own. Usually to get this kid to do anything is next to impossible. But because he's been so much more receptive, it's like, we're going to walk over. He's like, okay, no fight. So we walked over there, and my parents' friends were there, and they commented after we left about how they'd never seen Alex interact that much in any other time that they had talked to him. So that's a really significant change in a short time. And these people have been in our lives for many years. So for them to see that impact, obviously without them knowing what's going on in our world with nutrition and what we're doing to better our lives, is huge. So I mean, all of this just comes together, that nutrition, like, it's so important, and it's what we need to do to support ourselves and to support our kids.
Yep. Awesome, Shelley.
Thanks.
So great. Okay, on to our Susan Baker. I'm just going to read her little bio here. Susan Baker is a holistic nutritionist and my friend, and has been in the health food industry for over 20 years. She lives in Toronto with her kids and husband. I always forget the husbands, and inspires health in others through her online programs and work with the Juice Plus company. Welcome, Susan Baker.
Thank you. And it's so great to hear, Shelley, your story as well. And, there's so many things we have in common when a lot of us, seek health for our families. So Becky asked me to share as well about how nutrition really changed my family's health. I could talk for hours about it. As Becky said, I've been in this industry for about 20 years. I'm pretty passionate about the impact that nutrition can have on everybody. Seeing clients doing online programs, I see it all the time. But the most significant story is always your own. And so I'll share mine. So truth is, I'd actually known about this fruit and veggie concentrate in a capsule for about 8 years. But at the time, I was like, no, I don't need anything like this. I'm a holistic nutritionist. I eat lots of fruits and veg. I try to eat organic as much as possible. Like, I don't need this. And then I became a mom, and I have 2 kids, and my son was 5 at the time, and my daughter 18 months, and she liked 1 fruit and 1 veggie. And my son, although he's actually, he was a good eater, he's a child on the autism spectrum, like Shelley was describing. And so I looked at his body, and he was 5 at the time, and it was very stressful. And he was under a lot of stress because his sensory world creates that stress in his body. And I looked at him and I thought, both of you need more. And you don't need a multivitamin. You need more phytonutrients, right? So those are the rainbow of nutrients that we get specifically from fruits and veggies. You don't get it from chicken. You don't get it from your wheat. You have to get it from the rainbow of nutrition from fruits and veggies. So I went to the health food store, just like Shelley did. And I spent an hour and I scoured the shelves and I read every product label that resembled a fruit or a veggie supplement or a whole food supplement. And I didn't like anything I saw. Either that they had fillers in them, or they had superfoods or greens or grasses, and those things are fine, but it's not what I wanted for my kids. I wanted a straight up fruit and veggie product. So I called my friend who had told me about Juice Plus 8 years prior, and I said to her, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. I need to order it for the family. And as Becky mentioned, the beautiful thing is that when an adult orders, you can actually, you qualify to get a child's order for free. So I wanted both kids on it. So my husband and I both ordered, and that was over 6 years ago, and we have not looked back. What I didn't realize was how much I would benefit from the product. So, you know, I was a pretty stressed out mom. I cried a lot. I felt stressed. I felt anxious, and I just did not feel like myself. And after about, I would say 6 to 8 weeks of taking the capsules, and Becky showed you a picture, but that's, you know, that's what they look like. It's literally crushed berries into a capsule, or my favorite is the green, like there's your veggies in a capsule. And after about 6 to 8 weeks, I woke up one morning and I thought, I just feel more resilient. I feel more resilient to the stress in our life. I don't feel mid-afternoon that I'm being torn down and vulnerable and like I could cry. And that was the subtle shift. And when you give a mother or any parent a bit of themselves back, it's hugely significant. And you can't quantify that. That's not in a study. That's not written up, right? What I noticed with my kids was that their winters improved. So yes, they would still get sick, but it was not for long at all. They got over it sooner. It wasn't as intense, and it wasn't a deep infection. It was just your regular cold, and I think that's great. What also happened with my son, who is autistic, is one day I came into the kitchen. It was after probably 3 months of giving him the capsules. Now, he had texture issues, so he couldn't take these chewables, which are delicious, and I actually have to hide them from my husband because he thinks they're candy. But my son wouldn't take the texture of the chewables, and so I had to get really savvy and open up these capsules and put them in a bit of juice and shake it up and draw it into a plastic syringe and shoot it into his mouth. Labor of love. Every day for weeks, he cried, I cried. There was supplement juice all over the kitchen counters, and I thought, what am I doing? But when you are convinced as a parent that something needs to give, then you just keep pushing onward. So after about 3 months, I walked into the kitchen one day, and there he was, fridge door wide open, beeping because it had been left open. And he was sitting at the kitchen island with a bag of carrots, raw from the fridge, eating raw carrots. First time in his life. And I'm like, what the heck is happening right now? I got my phone. I actually have the photo. Still to this day, I look at it and shake my head. And the amazing thing about my son is that he's non-speaking. So he had no way of asking for a carrot or telling me, hey, I might try something new today. That was his body's own drive to try something new. And that is one of the most significant impacts we see when we give the body concentrated fruit and vegetable nutrition. Adults and kids alike, it's like a metabolic reprogram where when you give that concentrated nutrition, your body starts to crave more of that, more of what it needs. And that is for sure what was happening, not just with my son, who started to eat cucumber and strawberries and within weeks, but my daughter as well, who is the picky one. So both of them, their repertoires expanded, and we haven't looked back. My son now tolerates the texture of the chewables, which is cool. It's just sort of an added bonus. I still give him the concentrate from the capsules. And you know, I always say nothing replaces a healthy diet. This is not an excuse for poor eating, right? We always still say you do your best with healthy eating, but the reality is that we just can always use more. There is no harm in getting more nutrition from fruits and vegetables, especially in the stressed out, toxic world we live in right now. I mean, that's just the reality.
Awesome, Susan. Oh God, that story with your son always gets me every time.
It's so cool.
Like, because I've seen the pictures too. So, yeah. Anyway, so great. So, does anybody? I'll just open it up super fast. If anyone has any questions, I am going to close it off by thanking everybody for joining in. And again, thank you, Shelley, and thank you, Susan. If you guys are interested in anything, all you got to do is reach out to the person that invited you. I do want you to know that there's 3 opportunities here. You can either just become a customer if you want. You could maybe sign up and share it with 3 to 5 people, or maybe you actually want to create another revenue stream. This started out as my plan B. It's currently my plan A. And yeah, I just love sharing the power of whole foods because everybody needs it, right? What age qualifies a child? I do believe 4. Is it, Susan, for the Children's Health Study? Yeah, 4 years old is when they can start.
And right up to and including college and university students, which is amazing. I did the math one day. It's how my brain works sometimes. And it is literally the equivalent of $3,000 to $4,000 of free product per child, because you qualify for 4 full years. I mean, it's a huge gift, and there aren't strings attached. I've also looked for those.
Yeah, Susan would. It took her 8 years to friggin' take Juice Plus. Purchasing the capsules, do you have to buy them for 4 months? All of our products come in a 4-month supply because our cells rejuvenate every 120 days, right, Susan Baker?
Yeah, I also, I also like to say, because I've had families ordering now for 6+ years. It's the convenience of knowing that you've got the supply for 4 months. So again, you're never on the hook. If you wanted to try it for a week, it's not a big deal. Juice Plus will pay for return shipping, but we do know that we always give supplements 120 days or 4 months to have an impact on the body. And as I said, the convenience of having it in your supply, so you're not having to actually reorder every single month, is a major asset.
Totally. Child and adult. The difference between the child and adult gummies is just the amount they would take. So a child would take 2, like a 4-year-old, and then say my adult son who's 16, or an adult would take 4 of each, 4 fruit, 4 veg. Yeah. Wow, I'm pretty impressed with our timing, I must say. Pretty great.
I just wanted to say thank you very much.
Oh, David. Thank you.
Hi, Becky. I have cerebral palsy, but I'm also a special needs worker with people with autism. And my nephew, when a few years ago, when they found out he had autism, his parents freaked, and everybody started asking them questions. And because I have the background I do, I was the person they went to. But to have parents of people with disabilities in general want to speak about things that they're doing for their kids, that's unforeseen. I am a motivational speaker, as Becky knows, and to have parents, it needs to happen more. So to have 2 of you plus Becky talk about it, it was amazing.
Oh, I'm crying.
Yeah,
Thank you, David.
Thanks
That's
for
nice.
saying that. And thanks for doing the work you do, Mr. David. That's amazing. There's takes special people, anyway, takes all of us.
Totally. Well, okay.
Probably adult dosing. I'm
Yeah.
just reading that question.
Yeah.
The question,
It's not going to hurt them regardless, right? Like they might poop more. Yeah, whatever. It's not going to hurt. It's food, right? Like, all right, guys. I think we did a great job here, and we did I'm crying. I need to go fix my makeup now. It's my husband's birthday, so got to go celebrate. Yeah, awesome. I think we've got everything covered. So again, Susan, thank you so much. Shelley, and thank you to all of Shelley's guests and all of the guests that joined in tonight. And that's it. We're good.
Thanks, Becky.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Becky, Susan, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.